Welcome to That's What We Think with Connie and Steve. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Hello, hello, hello. I was just saying I look tired, and that's why you heard "No, you don't" at the beginning. At the beginning of the podcast.
Well,
Oh
this is
God.
round two
Yes, it
because
is.
we have done this earlier.
We did.
And at the end, I'm like, why am I not seeing my little voice thing moving and voice indicator moving? And it wasn't because
Oh,
it was the
literally,
Steve show.
it was. Like, she was playing it, and all I could hear was my voice in silence in response, and I thought, "Oh my god, it's me, that's my world talking to myself." That's exactly what it is. And it's very terrifying when you can actually hear it live. So it's all good. But
Well, it
yeah,
could be a dream for some people that are, like, wanting to shut
true.
me up, so
Well, listen, it's one of those it's every podcast, I'm sure, goes through moments when things don't quite work out, and in this case, yes, we had the crap part is that it was a damn good
oh, it
podcast.
was so good. It
Oh,
was
and
so
it's like
good, but my
but
computer
you know
was
what?
on the tail end of life,
There
so
that's true, and now you're all set up. Do you know
we're
what,
all set up.
Con? I
Mhm.
will say the difference is that it's very clear. Like, you
I
are
know.
yeah, yeah.
So you wanna know
And you
what
look
I
like
did?
honestly, the background is really, really vivid too. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm so happy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is the same kind of computer, it's a Dell.
Okay.
The difference is that the camera is where it's supposed to be at the top of the
Right.
screen as
Yeah,
opposed to
yeah,
on the bottom of the
yeah.
screen, so I'm
That's
no
right.
longer having to prop it up on a box. Although I do have this
That's
propped up a
true.
little bit on, a couple books just because I'm like, "It still seems low." I don't know. I didn't want
Well
it to be looking up at me like, getting that neck thing, right? Yeah.
well, I think it looks great. I'm thrilled that we're now at least on equal pairing now with our computers. And hopefully,
Yes.
fingers crossed, we can get through this, and we got a lot to talk about today. But I will
Yes.
make one comment. My mom, surprised me yesterday and said she goes, "I listened to your podcast episode." I went, "You did?" And she goes, "Yeah, I listened to the one about, the lies our parents told us." I know
Yes.
I've told to talk about this episode all the time because I really love it.
It is
But
his
she
favorite.
she actually said to me what her father said to her back when she was in Trinidad. She had to pluck chickens or something feathers, her and her cousins.
Right.
They were told that the more that they talked, the more the feathers would grow on the birds. So they had
So shut up
to
and
get them
and
to shut
pluck.
up. Exactly. And I had to share that. I'm sorry, I think it's amazing. I
Oh,
had to
that
share
is
that. Oh
hilarious.
my god, I know, I know. Thanks, mom. But our topic today isn't about that. We're talking about advice.
Yes.
And, in particular, I'm sure that you've seen online recently the problems that, SNL star Bowen Yang and his podcast partner, Matt Rogers, are going through right now with their discussion. Yeah, they had made a comment about Jasmine Crockett
Right.
and about not supporting her. And the firestorm that has come out of that has been absolutely insane. But it's not really about that. It was about the advice that they were given by Tina Fey, which she had told them a year prior, "You guys are getting to that level,
Mm,
and authenticity is expensive."
right.
And
Yep.
I love that expression. I think it is brilliant, and now it's lodged in my head. What
That
is it? Yeah,
authenticity is expensive.
yeah, I
Yeah.
will say that, Con. That's good
Yeah.
advice, and actually, we will listen to that. However, ours is about advice given that we may have not listened to.
Right.
Is that what it was?
It's the advice that we never listen to that is given to us all the time that we just go,
Exactly.
"Yeah, you're right."
Yeah,
And then, like, just completely ignore everything that was said.
and we had had some really, really, really good examples, and we're gonna pass them on right now, and I'm gonna get you to start, Miss Con. What's a good
Okay.
example? What's a
Well, I
what's an
mean,
example of something that you didn't quite listen to, however
it's something that we all say all the time that
right.
we should, we tell our kids. put your phones away, stop scrolling, stop staring at the phone all day long. And meanwhile, we do it all the time. Like we're constantly looking at our phones and scrolling to the point that even while we're watching a movie, you're engrossed in this movie and then all of a sudden your phone kind of flashes because somebody said something or done something or whatever. So you go to look at it and then you start scrolling through it and miss
I know.
everything that's going on in the movie, and then you put it
Completely.
down and you go, "Ugh," and you rewind the movie back to where you remembered watching it to, and then you start scrolling again.
I
The
know,
number of
I
times
know.
I've done that and rewound whatever it was that I was watching is ridiculous, and so if I can't take my own advice of putting the phone down and ignoring it and stop scrolling, how am I expecting my kids, my teenagers who have been, I mean, the younger teenagers especially, raised with a phone in their hand.
I know. It's it's really good advice. The problem is that, again, you just highlighted it. It's that this isn't just a kid's thing, it's an adult's thing.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it is really difficult to tell somebody, "Please don't do that," when you're doing it. They're
yep,
watching you, they see it, they know.
and it's
And
built for addiction. It's made to make us addicted to our phones.
It's interesting. Because these platforms are built in a way that you cannot take your eyes away from it, from one site, because
Yeah,
everything's on it. Even the weird stuff that you were kind of looking for, it's all right there. So, like you said, you're addicted. You're always scrolling. Oh, look, but here's something new. Oh, look, there's a new ingredient. Oh, look, there's a new recipe. It's designed to make us crazy, I suppose.
yes,
So it is really hard to tell your kids, go outside, put down your phone when you're sitting there on the porch reading instead
right,
of going outside and getting off your phone. You know?
exactly.
It's a,
Exactly. The
it's
number of times that I'm like, "Okay, so I am going to read for the next," and I love reading. So you would think that that would be but it I have to now in order to do it, I have to put the phone somewhere that it doesn't distract me. Isn't
Mhm.
that awful?
Yeah, it is. And that's not a joke. I mean, I do have the phone right by the bed, and I'm wondering because you told me
I don't have the
you
phone
don't
by
have
my
it by
bed.
the bed.
No.
Do you have a landline?
No, I don't. However,
Mm.
this house does have and I don't know if I could do it. So it has this house was built in 1992.
Ooh,
There
long time
is
ago.
I know,
Right?
it's ancient. It
Right.
has in the kitchen, it has a spot that a phone would hang on the wall, and I want to get a wall phone with a cord and everything and put it there. I just don't know if it would work.
It probably would.
I don't
Sure.
know if it would work. I'd love to look into that. If anyone out there knows that you can get a phone that looks like a retro corded phone, but works like a new one, I would love that. And if it had a dial, even
Oh,
better.
God.
They
I
really
think
should make that.
I remember, sorry, guys, I know this is kind of like going off on tangent here, but that's what we're all about. That's what
Of
we do here.
course.
And I remember we had our niece and nephew. Jim has this old school rotary phone, really old, like,
Yeah.
they're talking 50s and 60s here. And we said, dial a number. And it was just, it's one of those things
They
where
didn't know how to.
they didn't know how.
Poking at the little circles
Right?
probably.
And which actually now I miss the sound of that. It was
Yes.
wasn't it
Just
really
to
it was
think of like and I
yeah.
remember trying to do it fast and you would pull you stick your finger in the little circle where the number is that you're choosing, pull it all the way to the little silver hoop that
Yeah.
prevented you from continue. And to do it fast, you would then push the dial back,
It
thinking
was
that that would
great.
make it faster.
I mean, you can't imagine. I mean, when you talk to your grandparents And now that we're of that age and we're
Yeah.
parents and we're also becoming grandparents, it's like when if kids were to ask us just how fast things have changed in the
Yeah.
last even in the last 20 to 30 years. I mean, people take for granted just being able to pick up the phone and just presses it. And now if you can call China or wherever it is, where when I was growing up,
Sure.
if we got a phone call from Trinidad, first of all, it was echoey. And
Yeah.
secondly, it was a big deal. And third, it was
And it was
really
so
expensive.
expensive.
Oh my God.
Yes.
You didn't call long distance unless you
No.
absolutely had to. And that's something
Yeah.
that people can't fathom in this day and age, which great. That's the way it
Yeah.
should be. Things are
Yeah.
supposed to progress. But I smile and think about that every once in a while, think of how far we are. And that's why even now, I mean, with the phone, it was only meant for us to have fun and talk and enjoy.
Right.
But now it's
And sit
become
on for
everything.
hours on our
Everything.
beds, right after we finish school,
Oh, for better or worse, this is what
chatting
we're
about
stuck with.
everything and having my dad go, "What could you possibly say to Steven? You've seen him all day. Get off that phone."
I don't know. It's just we just had more things to talk about, and we did. We didn't
We
shut
did.
up
No. It's kind
like
of like
now.
now.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I will say this, in the last podcast that we were doing, or in the one that we couldn't upload,
That we lost.
that we lost, I was thinking about the advice and I said, "Oh, well, I didn't really stick my oar in unless I had to." And I'm in hindsight, that's not true. I did, I'm sure there's probably people out there that are probably dealing with the aftermath of Stephen's advice. In general, you do try to stay out of people's way because
Yes.
ultimately they're going to do what they're gonna do. And
Mhm.
unless you're specifically asked for it, you don't usually offer it.
Right.
But in the times that I have, it's never and I did say this, it's never really come out as, quote, "advice." It kinda came out as, "You really should do this." Blunt, blunt.
Telling somebody, "Do this,"
Just
instead
do
of,
this,
like,
right?
"What do you think?"
And I
Yeah.
sometimes maybe even think that's a guy thing. It's just, it's one of those things that I find that a lot of guys tend to do sometimes because
Well, because most men are fixers, right?
that's the word. We're
You give
we're
them a
built
problem and they'll try to fix
to
it.
fix
Yeah,
it.
as
Yeah, I
opposed
mean,
to helping.
exactly, or even just listening.
Right.
And therefore, in this area of advice given but not taken, I mean, I'm sure there's I'm sure there's lots of examples where I may have stuck my oar in. And in hindsight now realizing, I think most people just come to you probably not for advice. I do think it's mostly just for people to say, get whatever it is that they're having inside out
I think
and just needing someone
sometimes,
to listen.
yes. When some people go to somebody for advice, what they are sometimes looking for is clarification that what they want is right. Like, they're not asking for advice, they're saying they want confirmation.
Right.
So, I was asked once, and it was a big deal, and I will never forget it because I did get into trouble for it as well. So, I had a young person, a young adult, come to me,
Hmm.
who she had found herself into, I guess you wanna call it, trouble. She wasn't a teenager, but she was a young, young adult, still at the very beginning of her adulthood. She asked me, if she should have an abortion. Her mother wants her to have an abortion. She
Right.
doesn't want
Right.
to,
Right.
and what should she do?
Hmm.
And I handled it the way I would handle it with anything that I would even be looking at when you have these options available, and it's good that we have options available. I am completely pro-choice, but I also think that you need to weigh out all the options, and I
Yeah.
told her, I said, "If you have an abortion every year on that anniversary of the abortion, you're gonna be looking back and thinking, 'How old would that baby be? Would they have been a boy or would they have been a girl? What would I have named them?'" You would go through all the things in your head.
Hmm.
So, but if you have the baby, you're also going to be looking at all the things that now you can't do because you have the responsibility of this child with you.
That's
Your
right.
friends are going out and having a good time because this is when you can do that. and you're going to now have to decline because you're raising a baby unless you
Right.
have a babysitter. That there's costs and expenses that go with it and everything. If you give this child up for adoption, you're going to wonder, Is my baby with a good family? Are they being taken care of properly? Will they ever seek me out? Do I want them to seek me out? So many different things. I said, and no one can tell you which one is the right decision.
Right.
You have to decide which consequence, because everything has a consequence,
Right.
which consequence you're most willing to live with for the rest of your life. And
Right.
you do have to kind of look a little forward with that kind of decision. And I did get into trouble for that because their mother yelled at me for telling them to have the baby. And I said, look, I never told them what to do. I said that they had to make that decision because they're the only ones that live with that consequence. I don't. You don't as the mother or grandmother. The only person that lives with that consequence is this young person,
Right.
and
True.
they're
Yeah.
the ones that have to make that decision. So, did I get into trouble
That's
for
pretty
giving
big.
advice?
This yeah,
Yes,
this is a
I
big one.
did.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Well,
do I
what
regret that advice? Absolutely not.
why did
I
you
would hope somebody would give my kids that advice if they ever needed to go to somebody else other than me.
see, this is really interesting. So, sorry to interrupt, but I was just wondering,
Yeah.
why did you get into trouble? Is it because you stuck your she came to you.
Yes. Yeah.
So, it's not as if you
Oh,
purposely
I didn't volunteer the information. I didn't
exactly.
say,
So,
"No, no, no."
why
She came
why
to
on
me
earth would you get in trouble for,
because the
like
mother did not want her daughter to have that advice.
and
She
as
wanted her
opposed
daughter to do what she told her to do, and that was it.
I see.
Mhm.
Even though mm. See, you said something too that was interesting, like, if I would hope that somebody would say this to my daughters if, if they had gone to them for advice, and that's, like, that isn't an that is in a really interesting area of complications. It's a complicated area, especially when you're
Right.
dealing with other people's children, and I've learned never to step into to that because that I don't have
Because you
kids.
get into trouble.
Well, I don't have children. I don't know
Yeah.
what that world is. You can only
Yeah.
sit there and just kinda nod and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and in areas where I think I may offer it, I just realize it's the blind leading the blind. I don't know, and I can't help
Right.
you. And but for people that
But you
do,
could still give your,
some can.
not advice. Well, yeah, it's advice. It's like what you would do in that situation and how you would handle it. You're not telling them you're never telling people what to do with advice. I always find that it's up to them ultimately. My
Mhm.
grandfather used to say, "Listen to everybody's advice, but do your own thing."
I think it's been fascinating about that because even therapists have their don't offer advice. I
No.
know my therapist doesn't, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate that, and she
Yeah.
makes it very clear about that,
Mhm.
and that's not her job. I understand that, and I also retain that as sometimes in my head where it's like this I think the fear for me is, what if I do something and say something that's not that causes harm?
Right.
Even if it wasn't meant to do that,
Mhm.
it's I just I've always followed the advice of sometimes of Steven Wilson, even though it wasn't the right one, and those are the lessons that I've learned. You don't
Right.
learn unless you do it,
Yeah.
and I, as a result, have always just kind of been in my own head. It's such a complicated area. I mean, I know I've said things to people if they've asked, or even if just like I said, I've stuck my oar in a couple of times, but my head is complicated. It's not because my path to where I am now has just been a meandering all over the place thing, and those are the things that work for me
But you do
because
give advice. You've given advice before.
when? Where?
There's
Who?
one very common advice that you say all the time to young people. Do you remember what it
Oh,
is?
yes, don't be poor.
Don't be poor.
Which
That's
is
Steven
which is
Wilson's advice, don't
which
be poor.
honestly is I get it, it's very simplistic and you can roll your eyes. Fair is fair. That you're right, is simplistic. If you want me to explain more about why I say that, it's simply because I really believe people should follow their own paths. I keep saying this over and over again, especially young people. Um, you have a path that you like a career path that you love. You want to be an artist. You want to do something to give to the world. You want to do something expressive and amazing. But sometimes those type of gigs and those type of jobs and that type of career is not exactly the most lucrative in the world. And we all know this. You have to work.
Yeah.
And
Well, we
that's
live
the
in a
key.
capitalist
Exactly.
society, right?
And in
So
order to live, you have to work. And if you're unable to provide for yourself, it can be catastrophic in so many ways. You
right.
can't pay for your car to get your auditions. You need to work. And if you're poor, you can't do these things.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a very simplistic jingle. But if you're going to follow your path, try to find something that's going to supplement that life so that you're not caught in a situation that you can't provide or do things for yourself. Finding the medications that you need, which
You're
are
right.
expensive,
And are getting more and more expensive.
food to eat, for God's sake, you
Oh my
need to
god,
eat,
yeah.
pay for your rent, all of these things. That's why, like, if there's something you can do to help yourself, do it. I follow that advice. That's the thing I did. I absolutely did. And of course, though, I had help as well. I had help with my
Right.
parents. But for those that don't have that luxury of having a support system, it's key. It's crucial. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it comes from. And
Yeah.
I know
Or marry
everybody's
rich.
right. And I realize it can be
If you can't, if you have to be that artist, marry rich.
I don't even know if that's a joke.
I know.
You know? I'm serious. I just look, people,
It is a
I
joke
saw
for me because I could never ever tell my girls, "Marry rich."
I saw something online where they were talking about a cashless society
Right.
and what that means. And this is where the don't be poor situation comes in. However, because if you're
Yeah.
in a cashless society, it prevents you from being able to do exactly what I said, which is to have a little nest egg or grow something. A
Yep.
little $20 here, $15 there in cash. If they give you everything by a card or Venmo or whatever they call it, Interact, it's very difficult to manage that. They the bank can control every aspect of how
The
you spend
government
that
can
money.
control every aspect of
Exactly,
it. So,
and it's
you have
hard.
taxes coming off of everything
That's
from
right.
everywhere
That's right. So
then.
it's harder for I think for younger generations to be able to take and manage themselves in that regard, taking
Right.
little jobs to help themselves. It's worrisome, I will say, but that's a different
Yes.
story. That's entirely different.
Well, and that does actually lead into my grandmother's advice always was take a little bit off the top for yourself and
Does she sound like
squirrel it
that?
away. No, she didn't sound like that at all. She had more of an Italian accent as opposed to whatever
Do it,
that
Connie,
was.
do it.
Keep it some for yourself. No, it did. She
Oh
didn't
my
sound like
god.
that either.
That was great. Oh god, I love when you do that.
She would say my grandfather would give her the money. And my grandmother always did have money that even though she came from a time when women didn't work, she had the garden and she had chickens and she would sell tomatoes and she would sell eggs, and that was her money.
Yeah.
And that was like
Yeah.
so she even though in a non-independent time, made sure she had a bit of independence as far as some money. So but when he would give her money to go do the groceries, he'd give her, say, $100 for the week. She would take 20, tuck it in between her breasts, spend 80 because she would use the coupons, so it would still be at $100 worth of stuff. Um, but she would always keep some aside, so then that way when it came to birthday presents and Christmas
Yeah.
and whatever,
Yeah.
she wasn't having to worry about, "Do we have enough money?
Yeah.
I need extra money."
Yes.
She had her little nest egg that she always had, and I think it's important. I know that there's this whole new trend going out there about trad wives.
Okay. Like, what is
And
people
a
wanting to
trad
become
wife,
that? A
girls
traditional
wanting to
wife?
be the
Yeah.
traditional wife,
Mhm.
stay-at-home mom and everything,
Yeah.
and I essentially was that. But there is a huge danger for that, and you do have to understand, um, not always is that financially secure for you,
For a woman.
for a woman, or
Yeah.
safe. Because if you need to leave,
Yeah. You're
or
stuck.
if your husband ends up leaving and going with, his secretary or whatever, using stereotypes, you can be left high and dry. And I've been seeing it online lately of these women saying, I haven't worked for 10, 15,
Mhm.
20 years,
Yep.
and he's now gone, and he's canceled all my credit cards, and
Mhm.
he's done this and this, and essentially blaming her for not working, and she's
Mhm.
blaming herself now for not
Mm.
working as
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
right? Because now she has no way of being able to financially, so, yes, don't be poor and be financially independent.
That's right. That's right. It
Those
it's
are
it
very important.
and even
And
e
don't be poor can sometimes be very simplistic because, I
it
mean,
is simplistic, but there's truth.
it would be nice for everybody to not be, and not always is it possible.
Agreed. And the reason also is because it's also extremely difficult to get the help you need from the government.
Oh
You
my
have to
gosh,
go
yes.
through the hoops and hurdles that you are required to go through to prove that you are a person that in need
Mm.
is humiliating and just soul destroying
Oh,
and
it's designed that way to prevent you
apps
from
and
asking
make you feel
for.
like shit and
Yeah.
designed to make you feel like you're a loser.
It is designed that way to make you feel humiliated, to make it difficult to apply for any kind of social assistance, so that you don't. So that you don't ask for help, so that you don't go seeking the stuff that we've actually paid into.
Yeah, agreed. It is.
Mhm.
Uh, even to even go one step further, everybody has potential to be disabled. And then you're
Oh,
really, you know,
yeah. It doesn't
it's
take much.
so trust me with this advice. It's coming from a place where it's designed to not. Yes, it's simplistic because the only way sometimes to get people to listen is to cut it down to the basics so that you can get their attention. And then you can fill in the blanks with the rest of the information. So, but I think I wrote down here a frustrating thing, and I'm sure parents have said this to many kids, and kids have passed that on to their own kids, which is, you know what to do. I shouldn't have to tell you. And I think when you have that sort of ambiguous type of quote advice,
That's not advice.
it's what is that? That is a
That is a brush off, I think.
but
That
it's
is,
ubiquitous. It's everywhere. That's a statement that a lot
yeah,
of people say. And I don't know. It's frustrating because it is designed to at one point, I think it is designed for you to help you think, but I also think
right.
it's also, again, frustrating because you don't know what direction you need to be pointed in depending on the advice it's supposed to be that it's
Yeah.
related to, right?
You don't have to tell the person what to do. You can tell the person their options, and then, much like I did with that one person.
Right. Right.
What I find interesting is that there's so many people that will not take the advice of a doctor because pharmaceutical companies just want us to remain sick because it's $1 billion industry and that's how they make their money. I'm sorry, what do you think the unregulated natural health industry is? It is also a $1 billion industry designed to sell a lot of times snake oil,
Hmm.
and it's unregulated, where pharmaceuticals there's so many regulations and standards that they have to follow before a new drug is put out onto the market,
Yeah.
where all of a sudden I can go online and say, "Oh my god, I've been taking these pills for like 3 months, and the difference in my energy and in my sleep is unbelievable. You should try them too. They're only 49.99, and you can get them, the link in bio. Like,
No,
seriously, it
it
is
is
an industry. They're making money just the same as the pharmaceutical one. The difference is, though, that the pharmaceutical is regulated. They
and
have checks and measures that they have to follow, where that
but
one does not.
absolutely, but then that also leaves this conundrum of where people are supposed to how would they know?
Yeah.
We're in this world now where there's so much information. It's funny that you mentioned that where just follow the link here. It's all over
Yeah.
Instagram. It's all
Absolutely.
over it. I sit there with my mouth like, I just like, like, you're there's no regulation, you're right. There's no one to stop, and these people that are making money off of ignorance and these
Well,
these this
it's
the
not just
suggestions that are under advice, "Oh, well, drink this. Don't eat this." It leads
Mhm.
to exactly where we are, which is no
Yeah.
one's listening to anybody,
Yes, yes.
right?
When you get so much advice thrown at you, all of a sudden that bombardment becomes this, like, echo chamber, and then you stop listening
You stop
altogether,
listening.
and you don't do any advice.
Yeah,
I think that goes with a lot of, parenting. Young parents get so much advice from their parents, their in-laws, books, parenting's websites, advice on when to potty train, when not to potty train, all this different stuff that they end up doing none of it because they're so frustrated and so overwhelmed that they don't listen to anyone.
yeah.
And I think it was before when you had just your mother to listen to or the aunties that would be within your
Your
little
community.
community
Yeah,
helping you raise the baby, hands-on raising of your children, that was easier because they were there and they were watching and they were helping and they were that the advice that they would be giving, they would also be utilizing.
right.
And you could see the product of that advice because you saw all the other children in your community were now because we're so isolated. I think that it just
Yeah, I agree, and I think that it's the community aspect, well, has been replaced by
online.
computers online,
Yeah. Yeah, it's an
and
online
it's
community
an
now as
online.
opposed to, like, face-to-face community.
Yeah, and with online information, again, you can't look. You can say do this. You can say the same for if it's face to face interaction because you don't know
Yeah,
where people are getting their information from too.
yeah.
But I'm talking like if we're talking community, are you talking pre-internet?
I'm talking pre-internet. I'm talking, like,
Okay,
when families lived
yeah.
together and they helped each other,
Not to
literally.
mention books, lots and lots of books, and I'm thinking about this. There's a lot of advice books that offered advice. There's lots of them.
Mhm. Oh my
Self-help
gosh.
sections were
We've had a
huge in the
podcast about
90s.
the self-help
Yeah,
industry.
that's right. And, the thing that I think about now, the difference between, of course, what's going on online and pre-internet world where we had to rely on books to give us some advice if you were looking for it, is that advice usually came from people with usually came from people with PhDs or sociology degrees, or at least somebody with enough of a background, enough.
Sometimes.
Yeah, like, not always, but quite a lot, because you could see it on the cover of the book, written by Doctor blah, 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 with a PhD in this, if that's what you're going for. Of course, I'm not to say that the entire self-help world was filled with people with sociology degrees, because that's not the case at all. Dr. Ruth didn't have that.
No.
But,
No.
but because there wasn't as many voices out there, you learn to trust certain people or you learn to trust certain authors, and I miss that. I miss that
Yes.
that I guess probably you're right, Connie. I think regulated is probably the right word
Mm.
because even if they didn't have that sort of credentials with tons and tons of doctorates or anything or degrees, I believe that a lot of these, like Dr. like Sue Johansson, she was a nurse. She
Mhm.
would, she'd offer advice all the time and about sex. And we in Canada, we loved Sue Johansson.
Yes, we did.
And we learned to trust what she was saying because it came from a place where she knew what the hell she was talking about. You've got so and so online saying stuff to you about take this fruit and it will help clean this out or whatever. And like, you don't know what the after effects are. All you're doing is just telling us to take that fruit, but you're not saying
Well,
why.
even if it was just fruit, it'd be fine,
That's my
but it's not.
example.
It's usually it's like take these set of vitamins or supplements, and you'll live forever. Your longevity will be doubled. Really?
Right.
And honestly, I have tried many of those things, and, I don't know if any because well, 1, I don't ever stick with anything
I know. Oh, me too.
to to see if it actually works. But, I mean, speaking of books, I have a ton of books, of advice, financial advice,
Hmm.
that I never ever took.
You read them.
I read them, and then I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." And that's the advice that I give to my kids too now is like, start young, start investing young because you have compounded interest. It's not about the ups and the downs. It's about the length of time in the market. And I never took that advice. I don't know if my kids are. But I'm still like going, "Oh, I should start
But
doing that."
But can I ask you why? Why didn't it stick? Like, if you could think, like, well, what is it? What was it that why wasn't it resonating for you? Was it the way that it was written? Was it the way that it was,
No,
described?
no, because I thought it was great, especially this one book. I don't remember the title of it, but I can see
Okay.
the cover of it.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought it was great, and it didn't stick because I think I kept on waiting until, "Oh, I need to have X amount of dollars before I do, or I need to do this before." So it was always like that pushback of, "Okay, I'm gonna start doing that once I have this."
Right.
Right? So it was I think that's really where the financial advice never stuck for me. But I mean, there's the advice that you get all the time that you
Of
read about,
course. Well,
how
of
to be
course.
healthy, exercise
All of it.
every single day,
Y-
and I'll do it for a bit. And I mean, right now it's January, so everyone is at the gym. Gyms are full because
Mm.
what do we do? New year, new you. So everyone's taking that advice of going to the gym daily and taking walks daily and,
No
lifting
alcohol, no
weights,
this.
no
Yeah.
alcohol, dry
Yeah.
January,
Yeah. Although
and then
these
it
days, I don't know why they're
lasts.
doing dry. Yes. I don't get that, but actually, yeah, I do get it, but seriously, it's we're dealing with a crazy time here.
We
But
are.
no, you're absolutely right. I think that, I'm hoping I'm trying to figure out the exact way to say this. I think as I get older, I'm I'm more open and aware of what's being offered out there in regards to how you can improve your life, especially as you get older. Um, and I'm paying more attention to that part, to the advice that's given as we, oh God, use the S word, getting seniors. Oh, I know, I
I don't think we're
know.
seniors yet,
I said we're
although I'll
getting
take the
there. We're
senior
getting there.
discounts. I
Right.
will
Oh,
take the senior discount.
I would totally take them if they don't stop changing the age limit for that. God, what happened to Freedom 55 for God's sake?
Yeah,
It's going away.
exactly, exactly. Just because our looks are the 40s is the new 30s doesn't mean that the discount has to now change as well.
But I think there's this built-in distrust I do think for our generation, there is a distrust of advice because, well, I think that there really is just world events, things that are happening around us, what we've grown up with has made us somewhat immune to taking advice from anyone from lower or anyone that's younger than us to older than us. We just tend to be
Yeah.
very specific. Not, I shouldn't. I'm putting everybody in one big box with Gen X. There are plenty of people that actually do listen to advice, myself included. I know Connie, you do too. It's just how it's just how it influences us. We may not nod there and go, "Oh yeah, you're right, you're right." We may question you to the death, but eventually something sinks in. And I do find as I get older, I'm becoming more open to just listening to, you know, how to what you can do with your life as you get older. I'm
Right.
more open to that. I can't escape that. So the door is open. If anybody's got advice on how to age beautifully, and I'm using the word beautiful, then then give it. Tell us without Botox. But
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
Yes.
I do think that's something that I am open to hearing. I
Do
wouldn't
you
have been
find
younger.
have you noticed
Yeah.
that some of the people giving advice online, because
Mhm.
that's where you would see it, I guess you could also see it on TV, are younger than us?
Yes.
And would you take the advice of somebody in their 30s? Let's say they are educated in the field of that they're giving advice.
I used to say with that sort of question an immediate no. However, I'm softening a lot in regards to that, opinion. Now, granted, they're still young and they have a lot of life to live for themselves, but some of them are on the ball,
Right.
and, some of them are,
Mhm.
and those are the ones where, like, I mean, even now, like, sometimes I'll see a reporter or something where thinking, "How old are you? 20 something?" But yet, they'll be writing something where I'm like, "Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I actually appreciate what you're writing, and I will take that into consideration. And it's really good sometimes to hear a perspective that's not our own and not part of our age group or older. They're
Right.
coming at it from a very different perspective. And it's a way that you can open your eyes and go, oh, okay, I never really saw it that way. Now there's not a lot of people out there that are that I would do that with because
Yeah.
like I said, they have a lot of growing up to do, but I won't close the door on that. What about you?
I look at it as, so yes, your age may be decades younger, but their experience might be greater than mine.
Mhm.
Meaning they may have, say, with financial, they may have dug themselves out of a dire situation and improved their lives by taking these steps. And now they're trying to share that wisdom with other people.
Yeah.
Or they may have had some sort of illness and improved their health by following these sorts of steps and now are sharing that wisdom. Because wisdom doesn't necessarily come with age.
Yeah.
I think it comes with
It
experience
does.
because there are plenty of people our age or older who are not particularly wise.
Yeah, I agree.
There's
I
some 70 some odd year olds that are or 80, I think he's 8,
yeah, yeah,
that is not wise,
yeah, I agree,
but
and
talk like they have knowledge, and they don't.
you're absolutely right, um, yeah, and that's sometimes when I look at that, and then you talk to the younger generation about it and their perspective and their advice about that, I smile because some of them are really on the ball.
Yeah,
And that's where I know, okay, I think we may have a chance here. I think we
mhm,
may be okay in this world. I think we might. Because
yes,
if they're picking up if they're understanding and fighting back in certain respects and offering advice to others that is gonna lead them to a better world,
yes.
please
I do
share it.
worry, though, I do worry because there are a lot of young men who are getting their advice from the manosphere or whatever you wanna call it, where there's
Yeah,
a bunch of,
yeah,
misogynistic podcasters who are leading these young men completely astray and thinking that they have these rights that nobody has.
yeah,
Just because of
agree.
their gender, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's so I am worried about some of them and where they are getting their information from, but
I do wonder about that as well, and I don't know how we can fix that, but there's going to be somebody that will be offering them advice eventually saying, "Get your head out of your ass and start looking at
yeah.
the real world," because the manosphere is not the world. It's just a
No.
microcosm of what's out there, and there's so much out there that you
Yeah,
can
do
learn.
you think the problem is that we have never been taught how to give advice? Because we haven't been taught what true advice looks like.
I'll tell you something. From my eyes, I think I I would I would have appreciated if I had looked more advice from older gay men, um, to learn to navigate this life. And I don't know if I would have listened at the time if I was younger. I don't know. Maybe because it's such a difficult path and it's fraught with all sorts of pitfalls and ups and downs. And there's some joy, but there's a lot of pain. And in hindsight, I think about that. I think about the fact that I never sought it out, but I wish I had. But whether or not I would have listened to it, but having gone through my own path of that as an older man now,
Yeah.
if what w- could I offer advice? Yes. Would someone come to me if they wanted to? I would hope so. I would hope that at least in that area, that one spot, maybe not finance, not law legal. God, I'm not no, nothing like that. But I've walked that path, that specific
Right.
path. That's one area that I could genuinely say I'd like to I'd like to
Be able
offer.
to. So
Yeah,
what would be
I
the
really, really
if
would.
you were to give advice
Yeah,
to a young gay person, what
yeah.
would be the one thing that you would want to say to them? Or what one piece of advice that you'd want to give?
Oh, that's a good one. There are so many things racing through my head right now. It would be really hard to distill a specific type of advice. I would say I would say, I know that it may feel like you're alone, but my advice would be to reach out because there are tools out there that I didn't have that can really help you navigate this
Mm.
life. It's incredible. And in some respects, I'm slightly jealous because of the fact that hell, you could just go online and just type in and find a group or someone that can give you, like, especially if you're in the rural area, you know,
Right.
more than ever. Like cities are one thing, but rural is an entirely different has I know, I grew up in it. You know,
Mm.
it's an entirely different area where you can't get that sort of an instant you know, community. Reach out and try to find your community. It will make your life find your happiness. Because if you don't, it's really a very lonely and unhappy life. That's I will just say that.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's not worth it. You know, you're wonderful, you're amazing, but try to find someone that can or something that can give you that feeling of community. That's my advice. It's small or big, I
Right.
don't know, and it's very loose, I get it, but I'd have to take time just to think about it a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, funny that you pointed when we were talking about online communities,
yeah,
that we had the online community and then we had the actual, physical face-to-face community,
yeah,
that for this, you did point to the online community.
I did. I will add though, be safe.
Of
Be
course.
very be safe.
Mhm.
That's I don't know in what capacity how that could be manifested, but just keep that in mind. Safety is
Yeah.
key. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I like it. I think ending on that note is a good point to stop
Yeah.
because I'm sure that people have their own advice that they would love to give. And it's not just about being gay or straight, it's just in general. And
It's just yes.
for us, we obviously welcome anybody's opinions and their thoughts just to hear what they think and or what they would advise on topics that matter to them, and whether or not they actually heard advice from someone and didn't take it and then realize, "Oh, damn it, maybe I should have listened to that."
Yeah.
You know? But, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
Or not, just you could just listen to us right here.
They could add their advice if you guys have advice for us on what you'd like to either hear from us or advice about how you'd like to see us run this podcast. Not necessarily will we listen because,
Mm,
like my grandfather said, listen to all the advice, but follow our own voice.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but you could do so at the bottom of this podcast,
yeah,
whether you're listening on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts.
yeah,
And with that, I'd like to say thank you so much, Stephen, for
and
talking
thank
with me
you.
today.
And thank you all for listening to us. We will be back with a brand new episode very soon as well. But, you have a great day, my love. I will talk
You
to you
too.
soon.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.